Hello again. I am Chris Lee of Southeastern 16, joined by Jay Greason as we do SEC baseball predictions. This one gets its own video. That's because it is Arkansas and LSU, which I would have both of these teams on the short list of best teams in the country. Arkansas comes off maybe the series win of the year, considering who it was and how Texas was playing in a sweep of Texas. I guess the only thing you could say to counteract that is that it was at home. This time, the Razorbacks will be on the road in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, to face a very talented LSU team that last time it was at home, it got a huge series win over Tennessee in dramatic fashion. Last time out, got a loss at Texas A&M in a series where A&M had a lot to play for and had been playing pretty well, frankly. Game times on this one, 6:30 Central on Friday night, 5:30 Saturday, and 3 on Sunday. The last two games will be, according to my notes, on the SEC Network. The first one on the app. Arkansas is 7-5 on the road. LSU 28-4 at home. And before we dive into the matchup, just a reminder, our content brought to you by Chair Bundy. If you exercise and need some help with your recovery, and I do run and do a lot of stuff like that when I have the chance, and this stuff has been very helpful. You see the bottle is empty. That's because I use Chair Bundy's products. Their 100% tart cherry juice is great for recovery. You can also get it in gummy form. You can also get the gummies with melatonin. So if you need to sleep at night, you can help with that. Or if you're on the go, you can get that same cherry juice just in a condensed package to take with you and add to water. Their stuff is great. Don't trust me on it. Trust the pros who get paid to perform. Pretty much anybody who's anybody in the NCAA is going to use this stuff. I think every NFL team does it. 10 of the last 11 Super Bowl champs have used it. Use it to help yourself, also help us. Go to chairbundy.com and get 20% off your order with promo code SE20. Jay Greason, your thoughts on LSU Arkansas, because I know you've been digging into this and got some stuff ready to go off the jump. What sticks out here?
Well, the first thing I got to ask is if you've got to mix the high density Chair Bundy with water, what would happen like if you spent an afternoon like maybe watching SEC baseball and you mixed it with like, I don't know, some rum, hey, you could like meet in the middle. You could be entertaining one side and feel healthier about it. I mean, I think there's an untapped market here for Chair Bundy.
You just gave someone an idea.
Well, LSU Arkansas, Arkansas is coming off, as I think you rightly said, the series victory of the year, taking all three from a Texas team that looked invulnerable, was mighty impressive. And as we did in our main league preview, Keith Law from The Athletic had his mock draft out, and not surprisingly, there are several names projected in the first round who will be featured in this series. Kade Anderson, the projected LSU's game one starter all year, is projected to go 9th overall to the Reds. The shortstop, Aloy brother, I'm still not good with his first name, is projected 12th to Texas. And Charles Davalin is at the back end of the first round at 27 to Cleveland. And that's with honorable mentions to Zach Root and Gage Wood as being right there on the tier of being a first-round pick. So not only does this game have a lot of stakes, does this game have a lot of intrigue, this game's got a ton of talent.
Yeah, and here are your pitching matchups for the weekend. We're doing this Thursday morning. This is according to Athline Sports. Kade Anderson and Zach Root on Friday, Anthony Eyanson and Gage Wood on Saturday, and TBA for the Sunday for both sides. I would think Casan Evans has started the last two games for LSU after being the Tigers' closer, and Landon Beidelschies has generally been the guy in the game 3 spot. So That would be my guess, but we'll wait and see. Might also depend on how well the first two games go. Yeah, I think Arkansas is pitching. Like, Arkansas had struggled a little bit. I think that staff is super talented, but those guys had not pitched up to their capability recently. You saw more of it last weekend against Texas. Kade Anderson has been one of the more durable guys for LSU. Tremendous talent, as you pointed out. Did throw 135 pitches a few weeks ago. His effectiveness waned the two starts following that, but he's been better after that, after 135 pitches against Oklahoma. Eyanson threw a complete game last time out. And look, they've also got Zach Cowan out there to use in a ton of roles. He started at Wofford. Both coaches may be kind of holding back starters just to see how the rest of the weekend goes, because you got some premium arms. And you know what? You might want to use them in a high leverage spot in the seventh inning to go the rest of the way and protect the 1 or 2 run lead, which you're going to need to handle those spots with care given the way both these teams hit.
And both the aspirations that both of these teams have. Because whether it's this weekend, or whether it's 3 weeks from now in a regional, or 2+ weeks after that in Omaha, that's where both these teams expect to be. Because I agree with you. I think these are two of the top 5 or 6 teams in America. And I mean, and I honestly think if they commit to Casan Evans as the 3 starter, Anderson, Eyanson, and Evans is the best 1, 2, 3 in America.
Yeah. I think I could, there'd be some other teams in the discussion, but like I could probably ride with that one and feel okay. Now, here's one thing that's interesting. Arkansas has actually out-homered LSU on the year. LSU's got 75 bombs, and Arkansas has got, 102? Yeah, that's correct. And look, I have not watched all the LSU games. I've watched a lot of them. I don't know if there's been a cold weather issue, if there's been a wind issue where the ball just hasn't gotten out as much there. But this is also interesting, Jay. LSU's pitching staff has kept the ball in the park at a rate of, I think, 1.9%. I think that is the lowest in the league, staff-wide. Let me double-check that in terms of the number. Yeah, that's correct. Here's your numbers. Kade Anderson's been the guy that's had the problem with the home run ball, 4.2%. Eyanson, 1.1%. Evans has not given up a home run all year. Zach Cowan, 1.3%. Chase Shores, you could see him in that spot, 1.5%. So I think a thing to watch here, Arkansas has got some massive pop. And even last week when Arkansas was having to go with some guys we don't normally see, Reese Robinette had a big series, and Carson Bowles had a big game or two last weekend for the Hogs that they lost to other guys. And you got a lot of guys in this lineup that can drive out of the park. Davalon with 13 bombs, Aloy Vahiva with 17, his brother Cuillo with 12, Kozel with 11, and Brent Iredale, who might be their best hitter. Probably it's Aloy, the shortstop Aloy. But point is, the left side of their infield can really mash. I think LSU's ability to keep the ball in the park has been impressive. And Arkansas, by the way, giving up home runs at a 2.5% clip as a staff.
This is going to have a very October-esque baseball feel to it.
Yep.
In that I think every at-bat's going to matter, because not only are you talking about two of maybe the best 3 or 4 staffs, 1 through 8, in terms of pitching in America's best baseball league, you're also talking about the teams with the 1 and 2 batting averages in the league. And you mentioned Arkansas's their power numbers not only surprise you over the totality of it, they are second behind Georgia in home runs in conference play. So they're delivering against the better staffs that they see, as well as just hitting 7 home runs on a Wednesday night against Directional State.
Yeah. Here's another thing. I'm looking at platoon splits. Arkansas's lineup, as I think it'll be constructed this weekend, Kozel and Davalon are your lefties. I would assume Logan Maxwell is still out. Nolan Souza's done for the year. So you're looking at the Aloy brothers are righties. Iredale is a righty. Ryder Helfrich, their catcher's a righty. Justin Thomas, his center fielder, is a righty. LSU's pitching staff is going to go, Anderson's your lefty, but Eyanson's a righty. I think Casan Evans, all those other guys are righties. Your lefties that you might see are Rizzi, Primo, and Cooper Williams. But the platoon tilt there it seems to help LSU, unless one of these teams has got a reverse platoon split. That means, like, if you're a lefty, you usually have trouble with lefties and hit righties better. Sometimes it flips. I don't know if that's the case for the lineup, but just going to throw that out there is something to watch. Arkansas, I would presume if Beidelschies throws, he and Root are lefties. They've also got out of the pen Colin Fisher is a very high usage and a very good lefty. Cole Gibbler, also a lefty, and Parker Coyle, also a lefty. So keep in mind that LSU's lineup is going to go, you've got Curiel and Milam, two of their better hitters or switch hitters. Dickinson and Hernandez are their starters that are lefties, and Tanner Reeves starts a little bit too. But Arkansas, a lot of their better arms are righties, and with Curiel and Milam turning around to go with Jake Brown and Jones and those guys, Stanfield is righties. That's something to watch because it feels like the platoon splits on paper are going to favor LSU a bit.
Couple things. One, if you say Beidelschies' name like 3 times in the same sentence, does Michael Keaton appear behind you?
I think he does. With the bottle of Chair Bundy.
Yep, the Chair Bundy. It'll be if you're drinking Chair Bundy with a shrunken head at the end of the movie. Yep. I'm curious. I've seen LSU play a handful of times this year, and it feels, I don't know if it's desperation or frustration or even trying to embrace the moment. Sometimes I think Jay Johnson overmanages his team. Some of his pinch hitting decisions, some of his pitching substitutions. Hey, in a million years, I'm not going to come on here and be some screaming A. Smith and say I know more than he does about his crew. But it feels like he's trying to play checkers when he's got a team, or he's trying to play chess when he's got a team good enough to just play checkers and jump over everybody. So,
well, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I don't know. We'll see how this works if you want to answer that, I've got a real interesting talking point that jumped into me crunching some numbers and just looking at matchups, that we talk frequently about the Friday night aces against aces. Eyanson and Gage Wood may be the best 2-on-2 that we've seen all season.
Yeah, I mean, those guys are both super talented, and I think both probably big league pitchers. So your question is about do they basically overmanage their bullpen, right?
Well,
or were you thinking lineup decisions
stuff
too?
where you take out guys who, are great hitters just because whether it's a hunch, whether it's a matchup, it feels like sometimes Johnson wants to make certain everybody gets to play, but this ain't Reckley.
Well, here's the thing, though, Jay. Their lineup is really deep. Tanner Reeves is a talented lefty corner guy off the bench. Ashton Larson is talented. Josh Pearson is a guy who's played a lot of ball and is really productive. Their hitting bench as constructed right now is about as deep as anybody in the league. Like, I'll give you – Dalton Beck was a guy that was a big-time player last year, and I cannot remember where he transferred in off the top of my head. It was a lower-level school. He's had 10 plate appearances. That's because there's so many guys. They got 3 catchers. Blaze Priester, I thought, would have a bigger role on this roster than he's had. But, they've got, for example, Luis Hernandez, a lefty transfer from Indiana State behind the plate. They've got Kade Anderson, who's their backup there. Lefty righty split. I think one of their issues too is Michael Braswell just has not hit well really the last 3 years in the league, including his time at South Carolina. So that's a spot where they've got a lot of really talented options on the bench. Josh Pearson would be playing for a lot of teams and be playing for some LSU teams, probably. But I think that might be a case where They do have a couple of spots, the Braswell one in particular, where, you might opt in a late inning game for a better bat than what he's going to give you for the most part. Now, their bullpen, Jay, I don't know where that comment was directed. I will tell you this. LSU's got supremely talented arms. Now, the production has not been there for all those guys. Like Chase Shores is a first-round talent. He's coming off an injury. The performance has been uneven. William Schmidt, a guy that they have used, I think mostly on weekdays, same thing. Could have been last year a top 10, 15 guy in the draft. Sometimes you play it out and put those guys in spots because you want to see what you get when you get to a regional. And I don't know Jay Johnson that well. I've talked with him once. We've never had that discussion. But I'm wondering if some of that is just hey, let's put these guys in pressure spots because we might need them in a regional, a super, or Omaha. And I want to see if what they do matches what they're capable of doing. That could be it.
And then that's completely fair, but I think it's a conversation worth having. And I think a conversation worth having is what we talked about with the twos. But man, oh man, this is going to be great. I mean, you're talking about multiple first-round picks. You're talking about, and that's in the next draft in a month. You're talking about multiple future first-round picks. I mean, this is talent-laden with teams with tons to play for.
Yeah.
But this talking point, and I know we don't want to go super long, but this talking point is unbelievably interesting to me. LSU is we know the standings. Texas has a 2-game lead over Arkansas, and Arkansas has what, a 3-game lead between second and two teams tied for fourth or tied for third in LSU and Tennessee.
Yeah.
It's you're better off to be the 4 seed in the SEC tournament than you are to be the 3 seed. And the reason that is because you play on Thursday, you get Friday off, and then the semifinals are on Saturday and the championship game's on Sunday.
Yeah.
And that Friday off day is huge to be a 4 seed. And it would allow you to leverage an arm that you would use on Thursday, potentially on Saturday, and almost certainly on Sunday.
Well, to tell you the truth, I wonder how much it's going to matter. I mean, it could matter for one of these teams if they get swept this weekend. By the way, LSU 15-9 in the league, Arkansas 17-7, so it's a 2-game difference. Georgia also tied with LSU. Then you get to Tennessee and Vandy at 14-10. I mean, I think these two programs, LSU, both their issues, they probably need to rack up a few more wins against really good opponents to be safe. So I would say, especially if Arkansas takes the series at LSU, you can just go ahead and write Arkansas as a national seed and stone, which are probably close anyway.
True or false? The winner of this series writes its name in Sharpie as a national seed.
If it's Arkansas for sure, if it's LSU, I think probably. And let me check the series next weekend for LSU. They go to South Carolina, so your answer there is yes.
And with that, give me Dave Van Horn and the Hogs.
Yeah, one more thing I wanted to mention. I think Arkansas's lineup depth is maybe as good as anybody in the country, even with the injuries. I think, both lineups are just a nightmare to pitch to, but Arkansas has been so good up and down the lineup when that's pinch hitting options. So keep an eye on that, especially if LSU starters can't go deeper into games and have to mix and match out of the bullpen, where, again, they're talented, but it's been a little bit uneven. Keep an eye on that. So you're taking Arkansas.
I am taking Arkansas. I think the difference in power, where one timely home run here or there, as opposed to these teams being borderline elite in terms of average, I think Arkansas's power and an Aloy brother is going to be the difference.
I'm going to go reverse. Again, I think the platoon splits here are kind of interesting, worth watching. And look, I may be full of it. These teams may have reverse splits, and I've just given you bad information, so you can check that yourself. But generally, you know where those matchups tilt. And I like I like LSU's ability to keep the ball in the park, and it plays at home. So we'll split the difference on this one. I'll go LSU, you'll go Arkansas, and we'll both watch eagerly to see how it goes. And thank you for watching that, by the way. Be sure to watch our reactions after the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night games. We do those live. You can also catch those on the rebound if you don't get them live. If you would do us a favor, if you like this, go to wherever you get your audio podcasts and give us a favorable 5-star rating and some comments if you don't mind. Those help us get noticed, and we're trying to grow our audio platforms too. Anyway, for Jay Greason, I'm Chris Lee. We are Southeastern 16. God bless you. Thank you for watching our content, and we'll see you again very soon.